right? You wouldn't even think about it. You'd be like, oh, wow. And actually what you need to do, and everyone always talks about going home for Christmas and noticing a step change, which you
Yeah.
might not notice when there are small changes day in, day out, and you kind of live with that person. But actually, do you see a deterioration in any of their usual brain functions? It might be just actually sitting back and not talking like they used to, right? That
Mm-hmm.
might be an indicator. It has to, but it has to be. I always say it has to sort of be a change that you see and hear, and it has to be remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that happens over 30 years necessarily.
Yeah.
It's a change that you're going to see in a shorter period of time, which would it could be anything, could be something else, but that might lead you to suspect that there may need to be other tests done or visits to the GP, memory clinic, all that sort of stuff. Because then you can actually, once you have a diagnosis, and there's so many people that aren't diagnosed, I mean, it is getting better. But once you have that diagnosis, there's something you can do about it, and that you can set up future plans. I know that my dad would not have wanted the last 10 years of his life to have been what they were if we'd sat down with him and said, "What's the plan?
Mm-hmm.
What, what would you like for your family?" And he'd have always been, he didn't want to be a burden or whatever that might be, but it wouldn't have been so difficult if we'd known how to engage him at the time and how to. I mean, one of the examples I always give is it's called we call it the lettuce story here, but my dad used to um, when he was living at home with me in the summer holidays, it was just me and him. He'd go to Sainsbury's, walk through the woods, go to Sainsbury's, pick up a lettuce, come back, put it in the fridge. 5 minutes later, he'd say, "Oh, I'm going to go and get a lettuce." Go to Sainsbury's, pick up a lettuce, come back, put it in the fridge next to the other lettuce that was there. 5 minutes later, repeat. And he'd do that quite often throughout the week. And initially, I'd be like, "Dad, but can't you see all the other lettuces here? Like, we've got enough lettuces." But then I was like, well, he's happy. He's got purpose. He's got physical exercise. He's safe. Why is that a problem right now? Just let it happen. He's happy. Like he feels there's doing and he's achieving something. And it's not to degrade the guy. It's just him in that moment. It was perfect for him. And that's a very bizarre example of what you could do. Be it gardening, be it going to church, be it going to the pub and just sitting there and having a pint. That sort
Yeah.
of stuff. It's there's so much out there they can do. And don't forget, like that one moment, those small moments, the power of that, changing that person's mood, that will last longer than the actual memory.
Yeah. That's what we've got to go for, haven't we? Engaging, I think, and interacting and trying to change that mood if that's necessary. So
Exactly.
looking ahead then, what excites you about the future for social ability and the difference that it can continue to make? What's on the horizon?
Well, every day excites me. There's obviously challenges that there are with running any business, involve tech, just improving what we've got. But more recently, we've expanded into the world of learning disabilities, autism, palliative care. There's a story of kids that unfortunately are at end of life in wards, and we're able to project images of their favorite characters so that they're there touching the wall, and at least you're doing something in that moment, which must be, as a parent of young kids, it's one thing a dad in his 50s passing away, but having a kid, but being able
Mm.
to affect that moment and make sure that they felt loved and joyful and something they were interested in, that sort of thing is really, really, really powerful. And then we do a lot of physiotherapy and stroke rehabilitation by effectively creating light and sound and engaging the brain and the person in a way that's not using a screen. It's collaborative. There's a community of friends, families, and carers around them. And just growing our partnership across the world. It's been a real hit over in North America, and using it as a medium for advocacy about what can be done and how you can have a relationship with someone living with dementia, and just keep going and just becoming almost more unstoppable. And that we demand more and we expect more for care for everyone that might not be able to champion themselves, because one day it might be you, and you want to make sure that you've got the best life available there, because there is still a life
Absolutely.
to lead.